Well, I'm Dr. Premashish Roy, Assistant Dean, EMPI. I welcome all of you to today's webinar on how to become a successful marketer. It is indeed our pleasure to have our EMPI alumnus, Mr. Saheem Bhat. He is an EMPI graduate of the PGDM class of the year 2000-2002. He is currently at Qbake in Qatar. Qbake is one of the leading industrial bakeries in Qatar, producing products to suit the palates of a diverse group of nationalities. Mr. Bhat, we welcome you.
Thank you so much.
And yes, I'm sure it is down the memory lane for you.
Absolutely.
Well, participants, a few points for you to remember. Once our today's speaker, Mr. Bhat, finishes off his session, there will be question hour session. All queries need to be typed in by the participants in the Zoom chat box, and this would be addressed at the end of the session, moderated by our professor, Dr. Kanika. With a large number of participants, it would not be possible to entertain any question over voice. Now, I would invite our Deputy Director, Dr. David Iso, to welcome our very, very senior, our own alumnus, Mr. Saheem Bhat, and to speak a few words about EMPI. Over to you, Dr. David Iso. David, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Premashish Roy. A very good morning to all of you. And I welcome Mr. Saheem Bhat, our dear alumnus, and all the aspiring managers for today's webinar on how to become a successful marketer. EMPI Business School was conceptualized in 1995 by cognitive scientist Pankaj Saran sir, who is the current president of EMPI Group and was built by admired nation builders. Our present patron chairman is Padma Bhushan Sri N. Vittal sir, enabler of IT and telecom revolution in India. Today, what we see as the big growing business of the digital world, IT, ITS, telecom, artificial intelligence, big data, and internet in India, all credit goes to our chairman for his vision and commitment, which turned the economy of our country and provided millions of jobs to youth and brought India into the world map of information superhighway. Today, as you all know, a good number of CEOs in multinational companies are Indian. And Mr. Saheem is an example in front of you. EMPI is a modern Gurukul, and 80% of our faculty and mentors stay in the campus along with the students, so that our students have a blessed opportunity to get 24-hour support and be connected with the faculty and mentors whenever they want. Most important, EMPI is the only business school in Delhi which has a safe and secure, pollution-free campus with hostel inside the campus. And in present scenario, this is very, very important. EMPI offers top line of AI-infused PGDM program across all management verticals. As you all know, this is the need of the hour by the industry. They're not going to hire manager with traditional PGDM program, but who has skills and knowledge of new technology to make better decisions and to create value to their company. All our courses are developed by multinational companies and it is co-delivered, which means wherever applicable, people from the industry will come and teach you in person. EMPI provides management students a globally recognized AI skill certification, which is very important for getting good job and for your career growth in the world that we are living now. Do you know, most of in-demand job, if you see today, AI is on the top. EMPI is the only business school which has AI lab powered by IBM and Bhat lab powered by Automation Anywhere USA. For an aspiring manager, both these labs are very useful and very important to get hands-on training. And for your information, no other institution in India has these two labs together. EMPI is the only business school in Delhi which has Atal Incubation Center supported by Niti Aayog, Government of India, the Planning Commission. This will provide our students an opportunity to gain practical managerial experience. And for those who want to start their own business, this will be your right launch pad. EMPI provides the students live projects, field projects, and most important, we provide capstone project in AI, which is mentored by the industry professionals. This will practically help our students to learn how in the real world AI is used to solve management related problems and how it supports in decision making. EMPI has more than 75 MOUs with universities in various countries. Our students have the opportunity to participate in various international programs, including semester exchange program, summer program, and cultural exchange program. EMPI provides all our students personal mentoring and also personality development program and customized placement training program. The good news is, in this critical time of COVID-19 pandemic, we have excellent placement and many of our students of the current batch are doing double summer internship from 2 different companies. Under the able leadership of our President, Pankaj Saran sir, EMPI Group is involved in building Victor Innovation City, a joint venture with Andhra Pradesh government, a technology innovation cluster, just like the Silicon Valley in USA. Now I request our faculty, Dr. Kanika, to introduce to our participant, our guest today, our dear alumnus, Saheem Bhat, and he will be speaking to us today in this webinar. So over to Dr. Kanika.
Thank you, David, sir. A very warm good morning to everybody present here for the webinar today. It's my privilege to introduce to you a very dynamic personality with a rich experience of 2 decades in the domain of marketing. His contributions in formulating and strategizing the sales and marketing plans has always been highly praised. Mr. Saheem Bhat kick-started his career with Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited through EMPI campus placements. He worked with Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverages Private Limited for 11 years and rose to the position of national manager. He was responsible for driving business development, program implementation, and product launches. He has worked at various strategic roles with multiple reputed brands, nationally and internationally, including Dubai Quality Group, Saudi German Hospital Group, Qatar Detergent Company, and currently he is the business head at Qbake, Qatar. Sir, I welcome you to the webinar and request you to share with us your experiences and learnings on how to become a successful marketer.
Hi everyone. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you everyone, for joining us today. And as everybody has introduced me, Mr. David and Ms. Kanika, my name is Saheem Bhat. And I'm really glad the kind of, introduction given by Kanika. I'm not so big, to be honest with you. I have been one of you 20 years back, which Kanika said. I've started my journey from EMPI when I did my PGD from there. These 2 years have been most wonderful time of my life. But probably I wouldn't talk about how to be a good marketer. Rather, I would talk about my journey and how my journey has helped me to do what I am doing today. And that's something which has taken me long way, the learnings at the EMPI and the later part of my life. Before starting anything, let me first thank Mr. Pankaj Saran. I still remember his one of the conversations where he said, Saheem, the classroom lectures, they are only, people are attentive for first 10 minutes. I mean, if it is a 50 minutes of lecture, and, the first 10 minutes are where you have maximum attention span. And then over a period of time, it drops. And again, at the end of the session, it rises. But I'm sure we'll try to maintain that attention time for more than 10 minutes and make sure that we participate fully. There's a chat box also. You can ask questions. You can record whatever you want to say, and if possible, not in the session, I would try to reply all the queries whatever you have. Right. So my journey, uh, it's a very long one. I started with the MPI when I did my postgraduate diploma in business management. It was a 2-year session. It was a very hardcore session where I was actually, drilled for the basics of my life. And the first success was when I was placed in Hindustan Coca-Cola Beverage Private Limited as an executive to be placed somewhere in extreme rural area of India, which is UP. And first few months of training in Gurgaon office, and then I moved directly to Banaras, which is one of the holy cities of India. Uh, it was like, suddenly I'm in the world where I was paid by my parents earlier and everything was going very smoothly. I had a very fun of my life. And then suddenly I'm in a place where I don't know what to do. And, it's a different kind of terrain, different kind of territory, geography, socially, politically. And it was very tough in the beginning to adjust to the kind of atmosphere. But certain things which kept on, I kept on doing was to make sure that I keep on learning. That is something which I always believed in. That learning is something which is very, very important. Probably, even if it is the smallest thing, which is somebody, next neighbor or a shopkeeper or any a friend or an acquaintance, whatever he tells you, try to grasp it and learn it. And I kept on learning that. And and in the due course of time, after 3 years, I was promoted and I moved to a different territory. And this journey has been extremely, full of fun and full of excitement. So as I moved to next level of my career, when I was working for as an area sales manager in Coca-Cola. Again, the territory was different, the people were different. So certain things which I learned all the while, I have picked certain things which made me what I am today. Is the marketing of the self, which is the most important thing. You might be able to do marketing of so many things. You sell, you push the product, you use a lot of strategies. That is something which come later part of your life. What is important right now, I mean, for any of you or for anybody who's going to get into this world of business, has to have certain qualities which I think is not something which you read, which you look at internet, where it's taught somewhere. It is something which comes within you. The most important thing is you should always work towards helping people. Be generous, try to help people, because there's always an exchange thing which happens between yourself and somebody. So when you help people, you end up getting something back. And that is the learning what you do. Now, second thing is what people ignore most of the time is what you say, but they will never ignore what you do, which means that you will say something and probably it's just you said it. But once you do it, people remind you, people always remember you. I'll give you certain examples later in the later part of this session. So, but that is something which I wanted to tell you. There's one more thing which I understood, while working for last 20 years. You always have to over deliver. Never get complacent on what you're doing. Basically, I believe that, when we start doing something, we suddenly get complacent on, I have done my task, I have done my work, that's it. But in the line of business where we are, the way the competition is in the system, the way there are so many people, trying to cross one another, getting up that ladder of success, it's always, you have to deliver, and you have to deliver more than what is expected. So that is one learning I had. The fourth thing what I learned is you have to respond to everyone who reaches you, which means if somebody is talking to you, somebody is asking any help, somebody is trying to take your help on certain things, whether it is business, whether it is personal, you should always reach out to people, which actually brings in a sense of accomplishment in you, and you become more confident over a period of time. Then one more important thing which I learned is acknowledge people. See, acknowledge, in a sense, right? Somebody mentions you, like somebody said he has done a good work, he's in fairly okay work. So you should go and thank him for saying all these words, because it's not easy to get acknowledgements in this cutthroat, in this competitive environment where everybody is struggling to get to the next line. Something more important is share what you learn. It is something, what you learn over a period of time, you should always be ready to give it back to your friends, to your society, to your colleagues. Because if you learn something and you don't share, probably you're not marketing yourself well. And when you share, you should teach also. So these are certain things, which look very basic to the people, which may not talk about strategies, which may not talk about action plans, which may not talk about, kind of business plans, what you make, but it is something which is self, and which develops you to become a successful person. Trust me, I would say they play a 50% part. The ratio of or the percentage being given to this is little not right, but still I would say it's 50% of what all you do in the world. It's also important whether you are at right time at right place. I have been fortunate enough, to get a certain privilege of life, which is getting into a college, which taught me so well, which gave me so much of exposure. I remember there were certain kind of activities, which was digital democracy, once organized by Mr. Saran. It was a great thing. We got, it was a kind of program which during that time people hardly would think about it. But that was something which gave me a lot of exposure, a lot of confidence in terms of, a stage fair, a talking fair, which is something very, very important in this current world. Then the extracurricular activities, what we had there, that was tremendous, I would say. And that is something which was built up in me. And when I went to the corporate world, all these confidence things, all these learnings helped me to become more, I would say not successful, I would say more capable in handling the situations which came to me during my working time, working hours, or working life. Right now I'm at Qatar, Doha, and I have been here for last 2 years, rather, I would say, in different capacities. The culturally, the work-wise, it is same everywhere. Trust me, it is not different. The only difference what makes is maybe probably the language are different. Otherwise, the basic principles of business, basic principles of marketing continue to be same. It is, it is how strong urge you have to learn. If you do not have urge to learn, probably, you know, a genius mind cannot become a successful marketer. Probably, he would not, he would always believe that I know more than what system is teaching me, what world is teaching me. This is something which, which has been quite useful to me, and I have learned a lot from it. This is overall marketing part. There is always a human element to it. Today, if you're working somewhere and if you're marketing, if you're in sales or if you're in any of the field, probably you should always keep one thing in mind, that you're not working for yourself. You're working for people who are under you. It may not necessarily mean you're a general manager of a company, or you're a, you can say a sales head of the company. Whatever position you are, wherever you are in the system, in the hierarchy of the business, it is always important how you think about the people working down the line, because you should always remember, your one action, one wrong move, or anything which is detrimental for anybody can make somebody jobless, can make somebody's family disturbed. So that human emotional element, if it is not there in the business, probably I don't think anybody can be successful in the world. So that is something which is very close to my heart, and I always believe in that. It's always good to be very good human being rather than being a very good businessman, because I believe good human beings make good businessmen. And it's, if you're not a good human being, probably you'll not be a good marketer, you'll not be a good sales guy. Probably you may cheat somebody once, and you may sell, you may market something, but it doesn't come back to you, and it'll be only one sales, not one market effort, and after that you may lose that client, you may lose that customer, you may lose that initiative, or you may lose that product. So that is something which becomes a very important element in the life of a successful marketer. There's something called keeping yourself educated always. Trust me, all these 20 years, when I went to Dubai, and I joined Saudi German Hospitals Group, I remember, I was working normally. That was a job, my job of 9 to 5, and I remember we used to leave by 6 and go back to our homes and enjoy and do what we want to do. But suddenly I thought of doing something more than what I am doing, and then this Dubai Quality Awards, which is it's one of the most prestigious award in UAE, I would say Dubai, which has become a new hub of the world. And this award is something where you assess the company, and there's proper screening of the person who wanted to become an assessor. And trust me, I thought, let me give it a try. I had no experience of doing it before. I had never done any assessment of anybody, any company, or any kind of business. I had been in sales all the while, and then I moved to sales and marketing in Dubai, and then I thought, let me try, and I went there, I tried, and I qualified, and I became an assessor. And then imagine the kind of exposure I had there in terms of understanding the processes, understanding the business, and that made me something very, very apt to the knowledge database what the world has. So I started assessing companies there, and then I became a part of that group, which is well-recognized group. Then I was certified, I was photographed, but besides all this, there was huge learning. And so the message here is, you should not shy away to take steps. You should not, make sure that, can I do this? Should I do this? Rather, you should go ahead and do it. What will happen? At the maximum, they would have rejected me. That's all. but I would never regret now that I had tried something and I didn't get it, kind of stuff. So I tried it, I passed it without any, it was sheer coincidence that, without the knowledge. But yes, I did hard work on that in terms of, studying the processes before I went for the screening. So that was something new that added so many things to my life, learning. That was another part of my life, which was very, very important. One more instance of my life is when I moved from sales to capability in Coca-Cola systems. Normally, you are scared to tread different directions. Probably you're in sales or marketing, and you feel that I'm good in sales, I'm good in marketing, I'm good in selling something, but I'm not good in teaching people. I'm not good in training people, and I have to face audience. I have to teach people, train people on the processes, on working. It's a new domain for you, and you're not comfortable doing it. Nobody is comfortable. Then again I thought, no, uh, when this thing came to my to me in my company in Coca-Cola, I thought, I said yes, I would love to go ahead with it, because probably people were not comfortable shifting to different the functions, though it was something very related to this sales function, which is a capability, sales capability, development of people, bringing, making people more confident in sales, making them, very strong in the market, and telling them selling is not only being street smart, but also knowing the process to sell, because street smart can sell once, twice, but if you have to, in this current world, if you have to sell quite often, you have to be not only street smart, but process oriented, which is something very important to learn in this world. Probably traditionally people were more smart, street smart, and people used to grow. But today it is equally important that you know the process, you know the subject as well. So that is something when I moved to that different function of something which I had never done before. And it was an opportunity to me. I looked at it, whether it's an opportunity or I'm trying to do something wrong with me. I mean, I may fail miserably. And you know how to work in multinational companies. Probably it's sometimes difficult to take a step, because you never know whether you'll continue with that step, or you're not there at all. And what I realized, that it was one of the best learnings of my life, to take that one leap which I took during that time of shifting to capability. I'm sorry, and getting into that level of business, I realized, no, it's important to shift to places where you have not done before anything, and then get the exposure of it. I started working on ground. I started interacting with people on ground who really, what I have been doing before when I joined after college. So what I did is I tried to understand what problems I faced during what I did, and are the same problems being faced by these people? Because probably I had grown a little bit in the organization. So you tend to forget what you did. I thought it's important to teach them. And then when I started teaching them, I started feeling it, that yes, these are the processes which used to miss. But it was a difficult domain altogether. And trust me, it was not easy, to train people, to make them believe that, if you do like this and not like the way you are doing, it's much better. Probably you might face problems in the beginning, because people have a tendency to operate in certain way, and when you try to change them, probably people are reluctant, and that too somebody who's on the ground, who's selling, who knows, if I go and sell like this, it is that best way to sell, and suddenly you tell them this is not the right way, that the way is something which you're supposed to do like this. So that experience, that experience helped me a lot to move to a different. And what learning I had, that you should not be scared. You should not be kind of uncomfortable in shifting to the functions, which sometimes feel challenging, or may look small, or may not be so lucrative, or you find it, you're deviating from what you're doing. So that experience of couple of years was fantastic, and it was, I had to travel places. The exposure what it gave me was to travel to places, an entire, maybe it's an interior of India to the most capital of India, I mean capital of India to the interiors of India, where I could interact with people, with small shopkeepers, with small sales guy who was struggling, like when I was struggling when I left, when I joined first job. So it's a difficult period of life. You need somebody to handhold you and to make you, believe that where you are working and what you are doing is good, not bad, and you're doing it rightly. So that experience helped me, and that took me to the next level of, into sales, because now I was, I things which I had not learned when I was in sales, I learned during when I was in capability function, and I realized that cross-functional learning is so important. Then when I came back to sales, I worked in a different perspective. I worked in a different way. I realized that working with processes in mind is something which I was missing all the while. I had never, always believed that these processes are something which are hindrances, which are basically, something which stops your sale, which stops your initiatives. But then I realized, no, this is something which makes it routine, which make you more confident in working. So then I moved to Georgia Tea and Coffee. As you have, when you sip coffee in McD's, it is the coffee which I had at one point of time supplied and the machine placed, and that was another exposure. And then again, I realized the learnings which I had, I tried to imbibe them here, and I tried to build in the concept of making availability of this kind of tea and coffee which you get in McDonald's, in the market, in the retail market, for the store, like next door shop, where you can have a similar coffee what you used to get McDonald's. So that was a concept which was fantastically driven, and I realized that it's not important to go to McD's to have a coffee, and if the same kind of coffee or same kind of tea is available in the market, in the normal shop, in the normal Karyana shop, in the normal grocery shop, convenience shop, or in a restaurant. And that worked well, and we did a fairly good job in placement. Lots and lots of machine across UP, Gujarat, Rajasthan, and all the territories of India. It gave me a chance again to travel a lot. And trust me, traveling is something. I think there's no alternative to learning than traveling, where you get exposed to so much of cultural variations, geographical barriers, and and the mindset of people which comes from different cultures. So that was one of the learnings. Then I thought, let me go for an assignment where at later part of life you start thinking about making some more money also, and then I had an opportunity to work in Qatar, and I worked for one of the leading companies which is into which is into home cleaning, which is into detergents, which is into house cleaning, cloth cleaning. It is entire product range similar to that, and it was fantastic journey. It was again now you were dealing with a different kind of people, the culturally, so even socially, even the way they speak also, it was different. Though English is widely spoken here, but still, a lot of people who are native speakers, and it becomes difficult at times. But then you realize your smile on face breaks ice. Uh, you're, you're working with them, you're coordinating, learning, teaching, giving them what they want, and getting what you want makes it easy. And then it became a good thing. And then I was given one more opportunity. I moved to the next level of handling this Qbake, which is the largest industrial bakery in this region. Your day doesn't start unless you have this product, and your day doesn't end unless you have this product. So it's a kind of a product which is, in spite of all this lockdown, which is from last few months, I think we have worked day and night to make sure that you get the basic staple food. And trust me, it has given me so much of satisfaction that I'm being part of the society where I'm able to contribute under these circumstances where it was difficult to move out. So again, I crossed the barrier. It was not a risk. It was I used to work every day. I have never taken off. I mean, off in a sense, all this Corona stuff which came all the way, for last 3 months, I have not been at home. I have been always out working because we had permissions to operate, and it was it's a staple food, and everybody needs it. In the morning, they have to have a bread. They have to have a carbs, which is very important here. And I thought, no, Saheem, you cannot stay at home. Your responsibility is towards your society as well. And I was tirelessly working all these few months, and then I realized that it's something very, very important to work for the society. And I think I'm not stretching it too much, huh, Tanika? Hello,
No,
Tanika. I'm not
absolutely
stretching.
fine. Yeah, you can go ahead, please.
Yeah,
No. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine.
yeah. So I was I'm not keeping a track of time also actually. So I'm not sure, but just stop me when you think that I'm trying to go out of the line. Uh, so so that is something which is a learning for because I personally believe it is very important to be a good human being, to be a good marketer, to be a good sales guy, to be anything. And at given point of time, you should always look at helping people, because trust me, that's a skill which I have developed in myself, and it has become my personality to make sure that trust me, if somebody has to write a mail probably, or somebody has to write anything, he will always come to me, and I become so happy. And somebody needs advice, I have a lot of I have a lot of I get mails, I get people, and I become so happy, as if it's some good thing happening to me. But trust me, that is something which I like, and I believe that has helped me a lot in developing myself and in learning what is happening in the world. So that is learning part of it about my. I think one needs to be good. One needs to be very, very proactive. One needs to be extremely focused and process oriented, and then things go very nice in your life, in whatever function you are. So that is what I personally believe. I think Mr. Saran, I don't know, Mr. Pankaj Saran is not there right now. I think in the chat box, I cannot see him. Probably, he would be occupied somewhere. But trust me, I just wanted to close this session on a note that his guidance has always helped me a lot. He's one of the greatest personalities I have seen. I remember, it's called me, Saheem, come here. And I'm talking about my EMPI days, again, back to EMPI. And he used to tell me, come, Saheem, what is happening? What about the placements? Have you worked on that? Because I was part of placements. I was part of, I started, to be honest with you, though, a small example I'll give you. I was the class rep, it was a very strange thing. That was first day in EMPI, and I remember people were saying, now we have to choose the class rep, and it was not, nobody decided that this guy and this girl is going to be the class rep, but they said who would like to be the class rep, and it was very strange. Out of nowhere, I raised my hand, and I said I want to be, and and there was a Deepika also, my friend, my very dear friend. She's also working one of the leading banks in India at a very senior position, and she also raised her hand. And I think we became class reps in EMPI, and believe me, that is the confidence that brings in you what you have to raise your hand. It's not that whether you will be able to answer it or not, whether you will be successful or not, but you always have to raise your hand and tell people that let people know that you can do it and try to do it. And once you raise your hand, and then people start believing you. And I was then I became students representative kind of stuff. So most of the things I used to do there, represent people on certain issues. Then I was part of placement committee also. And Mr. Saran, I remember Mr. Pankaj Saran used to always call me saying, what is this happening? Why this is not finished? Why this is, what is the status on placements? And, he used to call me in his office. But trust me, I used to get a privilege also to bunk classes at times, because I used to tell my teacher that Mr. Saran is calling me. And so nobody would say why. And then you go and meet him and, spend maybe half an hour with him and another 15 minutes for yourself. But a lot of learning from him, and I really admire his personality, the way he grooms people. I would say there has been a lot of contribution for Mr. Pankaj Saran in my development as an individual, as a good human being, and as a good business person. I think I should end at that note. And I read it somewhere. What is a pirate's favorite piece of marketing content? I was just flipping the pages some days back. And can anybody answer it? Can anyone answer it in the chat box? What is the pirate's favorite piece of marketing content? Nobody, huh? So it's webinar. Kanika. Yeah, absolutely. Apurva. Nice, Apurva. I think you're on track on this thing. Yeah. So, yeah, Sanskar Rastogi, right? Good service. Absolutely. That's also one of it. Absolutely. Yes, Kanika?
Yeah. So,
I
thanks
think
for this session. And how is this coronavirus pandemic affecting marketing strategies?
the question is, your voice is breaking.
How is this coronavirus impacting the marketing strategy for the companies?
Trust me, it makes you, one of the, I think leading discussions in this current scenario is this, how Corona is impacting business, how Corona is impacting overall marketing, how Corona is impacting sales. Trust me, uh, if you look at the world right now, probably I would believe, we have to start believing that that is something which was normal, what is normal right now, which what people believe that it is abnormal. I think this is the real normal, and this is something we should always believe in. That if you look at some 150 years back, and probably people would maintain distances. It's a sign of it's a sign of decency. It's a sign of culturally being more strong. So I would say this. If you look at business perspective, probably you have to be more proactive. You have to plan ahead. You have to look at certain costs which come along with Corona, because a lot of spending on masks and sanitizers and gloves, and human element also, where you have to make sure that most of the people are risk free, and from marketing and sales perspective, you have to make sure that you have to deliver, you have to give product to the people, and with a lot of precautions, with a lot of sensitivity, so that people are aware of what they are taking. And there's good. If you look at online shopping, it has come heavily, strongly. If I look at this place, I may not be right in my statistics, but yes, almost 30 to 40% have moved to online shopping rather than physically going to a store. Because if you look at this place here, modern trade is much stronger than traditional trade, which means your departmental purchases are much higher than purchases from a grocery or a convenience shop. Whereas in India, it is probably the other way down, 70 to 80%. But there are a lot of platforms coming in India also where online thing. So people are moving to digital life, rather, I would say.
Right.
That is not going to replace the physical life, because finally the people, you need people to execute that digital platform, and for that you need people to run on, because somebody, when the product is home serviced or delivered, but that guy is servicing it, somebody else is being used to, somebody else is doing it. Probably you are not going yourself to the market, but somebody else is bringing it to your home. So involvement of human element will be always there, which I mean, I was recently watching a robots basically on Netflix, where it said, over a period of time, people are looking at, world is looking at completely changing into robots, and the entire thing will go into robots. And what am I going to do? What are you going to do after that? So that is something. If you look at the world is changing, but it is not changing at that pace that the physical marketing, the physical sales will go. It's going to be there, and this is just a virus. And once the corona is over, probably the virus, it is just like an influenza. So the moment it is over, people will again start, because if I have to ask Kanik or anybody here in the system, so they would always prefer to go out and buy something in the market rather than ask for so the option given. So I would say it is important that selling would continue to be as it is. The only difference would be some percentage of people would prefer to go online. So online has a scope. There's a scope in this field, but still we have to understand. If you look at Indian perspective, there's a population, a lot of population which is rural population probably, which still have a Karyana system in place where you take groceries based on certain parameters, where it becomes a kind of a book where entire khata jisko bolte hai, khata. So that works. So online is something, digital platform is, so that continues. But yes, there are certain products which will have more demand in coming days, and would do good. But overall economy, people, FMCG is something which is continue to be in a good state, especially food business. If you look at food business, if you're into food industry, or if you're into an industry which is into eatables, so probably there's a good demand for it in coming days. And people will not stop. Probably people may stop buying, somebody has to buy TV, or somebody has to buy a refrigerator. Probably there may be sluggish, or you may not buy cars, where you are something that you can postpone your purchase. But yes, FMCG is something, especially food segment, which has a good prospects in coming days of corona. But I'm sure this is going to be over in some days.
Surely we all hope so.
Yeah.
And something extended to this, how one can incorporate AI in their marketing strategies.
See, I don't know the audience right now. I mean, are mostly students? I believe they are mostly students, right?
Yes, mostly students.
Students, yes. So, AI is, again, I just touched this point when I said, robots. When I said robots, how robots have been, how world is perceiving to be, in future, to be human element to be replaced by robots. Similarly, AI is, it's coming in developing countries very strongly. But if you look at Indian market again, it's going to take time. As I said earlier, the population, the geographies, the education system, the poverty lines, and all this is going to take some time. Probably you may see it in some selected metros where people get into this mode of transition. but I still see a lot of time for it to actually get on ground.
So another very interesting question to me. I find it very interesting. It's
Yeah,
what should be given more importance, the product or the package?
If I ask me, trust me, nothing, anything. If you look at product, packaging can sell you once. If I'm a consumer or customer, packaging sells once. Probably somebody likes a good packaging, and you wrap it well, you package it well, you use maybe 50 microns of this material, and then it becomes glossy, and it looks good, and you can sell it once. But consumer is not stupid. Consumer is not fool. He would take your product once unless product is not there. But at the same time, there's a debate that if the product is very good, but it's not packaged well, again it becomes a challenge. So if you look at paper boat, for example, there's a drink in India which is called paper boat. It's a drink which is basically normal mango juice or anar. It has pomegranates and all this. But trust me, the product is good, undoubtedly. I'm not saying product is not good, but the packaging helped it a lot. The way it is, packaged, the way it is, the bottle's shape, that the copyright they had for bottle and the way it was presented, it's fantastic. So I would say, nothing goes as an individual thing. But it is collection of, you cannot also price high. I mean, when I was student, I used to write for 4 Ps. I never thought that 4 Ps are so important in life. That today, whatever we do, it's based on 4 Ps. Some say 5 Ps, some say 6 Ps. Some use people, then some use so many things. So the Ps have increased it from the time I studied in college to now. But finally, everything is important. You cannot decide certain things on isolation. Price is important, people are important, product is important. So if I say very nice packaging and product is bad, it's one-time purchase. If the product is good but packaging is not, probably I will not buy it at all. I don't know it's nice product inside. I find it very shabby. So that way I would say that everything is important, because that is how the world is. Doesn't look at one thing. They look at basket of arrangements that you can have in your life.
Thank you so much, sir, for addressing all the queries and for this insightful session. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Premashish Roy, Assistant Dean, to propose the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thanks.
Hello.
Hi.
Am I audible to you?
Yes,
absolutely.
yes, sir.
Yes.
It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks for this wonderful webinar. We are extremely happy that our EMPI alumnus, Mr. Saheem Bhat, a seasoned marketer, has taken out time to deliver such an insightful lecture on how to become a successful marketer. It was full of wisdom and information. You shared your journey from a business school to the world of corporate. Your learning at EMPI. You talked about your guru, Mr. Pankaj, and if I put it like this, because we keep on harping it as a modern guruhood. So I'll surely convey your message to your guru.
Please do that. Yeah.
Yes, he will be very happy that one of his great students is doing great work in the world of corporate. You talked about your journey from campus, from Coca-Cola to where you are right now. How you talked about that, the exposure you got at EMPI, particularly you named one of the extracurricular activities just, in the at 2002,
2001, I would say. 2001, digital democracy.
Digital democracy.
Yeah.
You see, 20 years back, when we are talking about digital thing, So 20 years back when EMPI talked about digital democracy, it's fantastic, you know.
Yes.
So you nicely talked about the various extracurricular activity that makes the person capable to take on various challenges in the world of business. You talked very nicely about how to become, you know, it's very important to become a very good human being. Philanthropic attitude. Once a person is a good human being, can make a good businessman, right? Human emotions are very important. You talk about the basic principles remain the same, whether now you are there at Doha, but you told very nicely to the participants, like whether it's Doha or whether anywhere, the human emotion, the concepts, principles of business remain all the same. It's only the language. So you very nicely addressed the participant that one has to keep oneself educated always. Keep on learning, keep on learning. It's the most important thing. You shared very nicely about your experiences. You talked about how you moved from sales to capabilities, training, that flexible mindset. One need to have that flexible mindset. And you nicely, very nicely talked about how you analyzed, kept on analyzing the problem, went to the small shopkeepers, heard them, listened to their heart, and you always encouraged them. And also you talked about like when you as a corporate person get into changing some of the process, what are the challenges you face in managing the changes? You know, all of a sudden you change the process, people are not happy. So you nicely placed that and you gave a lesson that is very important to be empathetic, you know. So, and last but not least, you traveled a lot and how traveling, going to different places helps you to learn culture and you get a lot of exposure. There can be one cannot have any substitute of traveling and learning the thing. Certain things you cannot learn through books. So you talked about that. And the most important thing I liked what you told at the last, raise your hand. You raise your hand to become the college, class rep. It's fantastic. So I must say, you gave a wonderful setting from college to the world of corporate. Wonderful discussion, wonderful discourse. So as a graduate of EMPI, as an alumnus of EMPI, Mr. Bhat, it's needless to say that you are a part of the EMPI fraternity, and it is our desire to keep our connection strong. We look forward to work alongside you in the coming season. And please remember that you are welcome to EMPI, your home anytime. And even we, the faculty members, were enlightened by your talk. Once again, I thank you, Mr. Bhat, for having spared your precious time for all of us. We thank our President, Pankaj Saran sir, Vice President, Dr. Abira Saran, to patronize this webinar. We thank all the faculty members and staff for extending their support. And of course, I thank all the participants and students who were rapidly engrossed in this brilliant session. Thank you once again, Mr. Bhat. And we have lined some more webinars. Next webinar is on this 30th June. Dear participants, follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram for more updates such a wonderful session. Thank you all. Thank you, Mr. Bhat, and have a nice day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.